I'm not trying to dissuade people from getting a KitchenAid mixer. Hey folks, it's Carrie from Pretty Neat. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here to my channel, welcome. I share new videos here every week about organizing and decluttering your home and adopting a minimalist mindset. So I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and stick around. Today, I want to talk about why you need to have a plan for your stuff. This is sometimes referred to as an organizing system, and I think that might make it sound a little more complicated than it needs to be. Basically, when you bring something home, what happens to it? What is the plan for your stuff? Having a plan for the things that enter your home is so important because I think the way most of us live is that we don't have a plan, and when things show up in our homes, they just get put somewhere and nothing is leaving to make room for the new thing. And if you continue doing that over and over again, that's when stuff accumulates and you just end up with a cluttered house. I think one of the fundamental reasons why we end up with clutter is because we lack a plan for our stuff. And that's what I want to cover today. The best way to explain why a plan for your stuff is so important is to give you some examples. So let's start with paper. Paper is often a big source of clutter in people's homes. It's certainly the biggest challenge that I have when it comes to clutter. And paper is constantly entering our homes in all different ways. There's the stuff that we pick up, the receipts that you got when you went grocery shopping, that free magazine that you grabbed on the way outside of the grocery store. There's paper that's showing up in our mailboxes all the time. If you have kids, they're probably bringing home tons of paper from school. Most of us operate without a really clear plan about what happens to all this paper when it enters our home. And that's why we end up with piles of paper everywhere. So in terms of creating a plan for paper in your home, you need to think about the different types of paper that are coming in and then set up some kind of system for dealing with them. Again, the system is just a plan for what happens. An easy system might be that when you get the mail, you bring it into the house, you immediately look through it, you recycle the junk mail or anything else that's unimportant, and you have a simple filing system in place for what to do with what is left over. So you have a place to set bills that need to be paid. You have some files for things that need to be kept, maybe for reference. There is basically a place to put all of that incoming paper. If you're looking for some tips on how to set up filing systems, I do have a video on my channel here and I'll link it down below. As I mentioned, if you have kids, you are probably dealing with a lot of school papers. That can be really challenging. I have actually created a course about organizing kids' stuff, and it's linked in the description box below. There's actually a whole chapter in that course about paperwork, how to set up a filing system for your kids' paperwork, how to set some boundaries around how much stuff you keep. And I think that can be really helpful. So again, that's in the description box if you're interested in checking it out. Another example of an incoming item that needs a system or plan are new items of clothing. So I work with a lot of folks who have me come in and help them rearrange and organize their closets. And usually what we find as we start going through their clothes item by item is that there's a lot of stuff in there that either doesn't fit them anymore or it's not really useful to them. Maybe they have retired a few years ago, but they still have a bunch of work clothes in their closet. What has happened is they've gotten new clothes, but they haven't gotten rid of old clothes. So with clothing, I think this is a really easy way where you can create a plan for yourself. The way I do it is I have a certain number of hangers in my closet. I bought some decent quality hangers, the kind with the velvet on them. There's just a certain number of them in my closet, and that number of hangers fits really nicely in my closet space. It leaves me a little breathing room. I can move stuff around. I can see everything. My clothes are not all jammed together and getting wrinkled in there. And I have just committed to myself that when I get a new item of clothing, in order to hang it up, I need to empty a hanger. So that means when I get something new, something old needs to go. And if you can set up these rules or these boundaries for yourself around your clothing, you will find that your closet is not getting out of control. You can do the same thing with shoes. I have some shoe racks in my closet, and really only a certain number of pairs of shoes fit on those racks. And so I use those shoe racks as my boundary. And you could say that's my plan. When I bring a new pair of shoes home, they need a spot on the shoe rack, and that means I have to get rid of a pair of shoes. So creating these plans, it helps you in a couple of ways, but I find that especially with things like clothing, it really helps me not shop a lot, because when I know my plan is that I have to get rid of something whenever I bring something new home, it really makes me think twice about getting new things, because I have to evaluate the new item against everything I already own. So if I already really like all of the shoes that I have right now, and I'm considering buying another pair, I have to think like, well, which ones are you going to get rid of? Do you like this new pair better than all the other ones you already have? I have been doing a lot of kitchen organizing projects with clients recently, and so this is really foremost in my mind right now. We need a plan for the stuff in our kitchens. Okay, specifically, we need to have a plan of where everything is going to live. So every gadget, every plate, every bowl, every appliance needs to have a place to be. If you also want to have space on your kitchen counters to work, not everything can just be sitting out on the countertops, right? We have to find a place in the cabinets, in the drawers for all of those kitchen tools. That is step one of creating the plan of the stuff in your kitchen. Where is it all going to go? How are you going to use that storage space that you have? And then, just like the other things I've been talking about, if you bring something new home, what is the plan for it? So kitchen appliances, I find that so many of them are big and bulky. I see a lot of KitchenAid mixers. I see a lot of Instant Pots. They take up a huge footprint, and they're heavy, and they're a pain to move around. So before making a big purchase like that, really think about what the plan is for it. Not only the plan of how you're going to use it, but the plan for where it's going to go. If you honestly do not have the counter space to spare for that KitchenAid mixer, really think about if you need it. Think about if you're going to use it enough to justify the amount of space that it's going to take up in your kitchen. I'm not trying to dissuade people from getting a KitchenAid mixer. If you really want one, if it's going to be useful to you in your life, by all means, you should have one. I'm just saying I see a lot of KitchenAid mixers that are really just window dressing in people's kitchens. They look pretty, but they're not really getting used, and they are taking up a huge amount of space on their counters. So what I'm talking about here, what this often comes back to is the inflow of stuff into our homes needs to have a corresponding outflow. I don't think that's a word. When we're bringing things in, we need to also be getting things out. And if the direction of stuff is only coming in, that's how we end up with a cluttered home. That's how we get overwhelmed with too much stuff. When you're bringing things into the house, really think about the plan for them, where they're going to be located, and also think about what you can get rid of to make space for that new thing. And if you can do that, if that can be part of the plan for your stuff, you will find that you don't accumulate so much and you're not left with these spaces that have become overrun with things. So is there a particular area of your home that needs a plan? Is there a particular category of stuff that maybe you have neglected creating a plan for? I would like to know what that is. Leave me a comment down below and let me know. And if you have questions on that, leave your questions down below and I'm happy to answer them there too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. It helps my channel out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe. I share new videos here every week about organizing and decluttering your home and adopting a minimalist mindset. Talk to you soon.